rocking and rolling. 7700 5800 and 688 6185. Go for the best frequency, and remember, we will repeat the whole programming after 14:30 Central European Summertime on 7700 and 5800. Avarast at FRSH.nl or PO Box 27024A. Great QSL card, a hard copy, full color A5 size. Please enclose details about our programs, of course, that's important. Later on, it's Jan van Dijk, Bert van Leer, Dave Scott, and of course Mike Taylor with great 1980s songs on Avarast Holland. Some more letters or some more names. Werner Schneider from Schönebeck an der Elbe in Germany wrote in December, thank you. Hans-Joachim Tellin in Lutz in Germany, Michael Luther in Gera in Germany, and Paul Gager in Vienna in Austria. We got a few letters for a test we conducted on March 20th. It was an unannounced test. Took place between 15 and 16 hours UTC, March 20th, on 5800 and 7700. And Konstantin Pavodaro from Ukraine heard us via a QESER in Northwest Ireland with a good signal, all the 4s and 5s. And there are some program details which are correct. It was a kind of test transmission to check out if both transmitters were working okay. We got also a letter from Alan Dean, or an email from Alan Dean in Padiham in the UK. It was a nice surprise to hear you on the air yesterday with a test broadcast, and I hope my latest report will also be of some interest. You heard us between 15:15 and 16:02 UTC on 7700 with a reception of 45444. The frequency was clear of any interference, with just some very slight noise and fading at times. The modulation was also excellent. I heard you on my Eaton Satellite 750 receiver with a telescopic width antenna. And finally we got from Sandro in Germany, Germany, 50 kilometers south of Stuttgart. He used and a RX SDR Play RSP, first generation SDR. He received it on 7700 with 55534. Signal peaking 40 plus dB over noise, but deep, slow QSB. And you heard nothing on 5800, but later on he heard us on that frequency with 25532, and that was at the very end of the test broadcast. So there's time for one more record, and then it's time for Jan van Dijk and the German service. See you later in Avarast Goes the X.
Shortwave. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, FRS beats them all. This is FRS Holland with another hour of shortwave power. Jan van Dijk.
Das ist vielleicht kein gutes Omen, wenn der erste Titel schon heißt Everything Always Goes Wrong. Trotzdem, hallo und willkommen zum deutschen Programm auf dem FRS Holland mit Jan van Dijk, und unsere akustische Ostereiersuche ist diesmal eher eine nekrophile Veranstaltung. Aber die Freunde des Social Retreat kommen diesmal voll auf ihre Kosten. Das kann ich schon versprechen. Von der Band Locked war, und davor hörten wir A Place to Bury Strangers, was eine gute Überleitung ist zu dem, was wir heute vorhaben, denn leider mussten wir in der letzten Zeit wieder von ein paar Radiostimmen Abschied nehmen und verstorben, das allerdings erst Anfang dieses Jahres die Runde gemacht hat. Armin war ja bekannt als Gründer von Radio Gloria International, einem der bekanntesten deutschen Kopfzellenpiraten der 70er Jahre. Seine Station ließ er 2007 für fast 12 Jahre wieder aufleben und wir hören Ausschnitte aus dem Programm vom Mai 2007, in dem angeblich welches musikalische Spektrum AirSpy also abdeckte.
Go with AM radio, alternative music radio, Gloria International with heavy music.
Alternative Music Radio, Radio Gloria International, Radio Gloria, bringt euch alternative Musik. Wie wär's mal mit Nickelback auf Griechisch, mit Alcestis Protophalti? Ich sag's ja immer wieder, Hip-Hop ist out. Haben wir von Radio Gloria ohnehin nie gespielt. Bollywood ist in, diesmal wieder mit Shah Rukh Khan.
Music Radio. Gloria International.
There's only one shortwave free radio station that has been on the air for 4 decades, radiating a successful blend of music and information to a wide audience all over Europe.
And we are proud to have you as a listener now.
This is the Free Radio Service Holland.
Sendung war höchste Zeit, also sich mal wieder zu melden und uns zu bedanken bei den Hörern, die uns im Dezember geschrieben haben. Als da wären Jörg-Clemens Hoffmann, Robert Kipp, Thomas Drescher, Klaus-Erich Sieber, Horst Nährlich, Stefan Druschke, Bernd Weiser, Harald Greiner, Klaus Fuchs, Kai-Uwe Hülfs und Reinhard Friese. Allen herzlichen Dank. Übrigens, unsere Hörer aus Deutschland waren wieder mal die schreibfreudigsten. Wir haben insgesamt 48 Mails erhalten, davon 22 eben aus Deutschland. Es gab auch Post aus Kolumbien, Argentinien und China, aber dazu erzählt euch Mike Taylor später mehr. Wir haben noch gut 3 Stunden Programm für euch. E-Mails gehen bitte an frs@frsholland.nl oder Briefe ans Postfach 2702 in 6049 ZG Herten in den Niederlanden.
Shortwave listeners do it with a long wire.
6185 und 7700 Kilohertz. Heute mit einem akustischen Kondolenzbuch für einige Radiopersönlichkeiten, die seit kurzem nicht mehr unter uns weilen. Das gehört leider auch Tom Hardy, den deutsche Hörer wahrscheinlich am besten von seiner Zeit bei Radio Caroline in den 70ern und 80ern und dann in Irland bei Radio Nova kennen könnten. Wir hören nun Tom Hardy noch einmal von Bord der MiAmigo bei Radio Caroline im Juli 1979 mit einer kleinen Lehrstunde in Sachen Rap Talk.
This is the Caroline Countdown. Live from the North Sea on 319 meters, 963 kilohertz. This is Europe's first and only album station. Number 15, a new entry from Gary Brooker, No More Fear of Flying, and Old Manhattan Melodies. And down 3 from number 11 to 14, Peter Green, In the Skies. While up 10 is Dave Edmunds, Girls Talk and Repeat When Necessary. That's it for part 1 of the countdown. Perry F back. And next year, get back. I've never done that before. I was about to say it's Perry F at 6:15. I'll be back at 6:30. I'll see you then.
From Oslo to Munich and London to Berlin, this is your alternative on shortwave, FRS Holland.
Früher war bekanntlich alles besser und manchmal gibt es ja auch zurück in die Zukunft. Neuerdings behaupten einige Zeitgenossen, die Kurzwelle erlebe wegen des Kriegs in der Ukraine eine Renaissance. Also, na ernsthaft, nur weil da wieder ein paar Sendestunden von der BBC, von Radio Liberty und vom österreichischen Rundfunk zugekommen sind, ist das doch eine etwas steile These. Die Frage ist ja auch, wie hört das denn eigentlich? Der Trend geht ja doch ganz klar in eine Richtung, leider möchte ich hinzufügen, aber so ist es nun mal. Der FRSH leistet jedenfalls seinen bescheidenen Beitrag, dass es noch etwas auf Kurzwelle zu hören gibt, aber Bäume reißen da auch nicht aus und es ist eben alles nicht mehr so wie früher. Punkt. Das muss mal gesagt werden. Kurz zur Musik und zu System of a Down.
This is FRS Holland.
Coming to you across the continent by way of the ionosphere.
Anderzijds had ik natuurlijk ook de cd erbij kunnen pakken, dan had je een hoop kraken en dik gemist. Hoewel voortschrijdende techniek niet altijd een garantie voor de toekomst hoeft te zijn. Festival in Rotterdam, The Empress of Soul wordt ook nog eens geheel terecht uiteraard. Ik zelf kon er niet bij zijn, helaas, want ik zat in Frankrijk. Ja, dat maar kan dit doen.
FRS Holland, an independent, free, and non-commercial radio station broadcasting on shortwave since 1980. Our transmitters are located in Western Europe, and we aim to provide a quality service to our international listening audience with a wide range of quality pop music and radio information presented in Dutch, English, and German. Tune in and turn on.
In addition, long-wave 270 kHz disappeared. The fact 639 kHz is now off-air is good news for Radio Caroline, as the 750 kilowatt strong transmitter used to have a very loud modulation, which splattered on adjacent channels. A few private AM stations are left using 792, 981 and 1062 kHz. There are news radios and music stations. Looking at numbers, the latter win. The name Jingle Mat Radio won't easily ring a bell. Not to wonder, simply because it's totally unique in the radio world. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, jingles, jingles, and even more jingles. More or less all jingle companies can be regularly heard, often American and British. A little warning. Unless you suffer from complete jingle madness, you can be ending in a catatonic state after half an hour. jinglemad.com/web player. The event Radio MiAmigo, an annual look back on Radio MiAmigo, took place between March 21st and Sunday, March 27th. A total of 168 hours of music, jingles, commercials, and daily 15 hours of retro shows from the 74-79 period were to be heard. Both shows from aboard MiAmigo as well as Playa de Aro taped shows. The stream was to be heard via radiomiamigo.co.uk and the Radio Line app. Thanks to some former RMI employees, this edition saw a number of exclusive programs being offered, unheard so far. In 1986, the Standard Publishing Company launched a book about former Radio MiAmigo International Managing Director Sylvain Tuck. It was a very sought-after item among offshore radio enthusiasts ever since, but not deliverable for already many years. But that is changing very quickly, as the Dutch Media Communications Foundation has taken care of a republication. The story of Radio MiAmigo, the weird and highly surprising adventures in Haiti, it's all to be read in this book about a very memorable man. 196 pages cost €25. including post and package for the Netherlands. Abroad, the costs are €27.50. The address can be asked for via Avarast at avarast.holland.nl. Every now and then a book is being published covering one or more radio stations that have been active from international waters between the 1960s and 1980s. And now there is a beautiful new photo book compiled by Ray Anderson with the title The Swinging Radio England and Britain Radio Photo Book. No less than almost 100 pages, this publication brings us a beautiful overview of everything around the above-mentioned stations. But also those of Radio 355 and the Dutch stations Radio Dolphin and Radio 227. Most of the photo material is in color, starting with the tasks of the ship before it was equipped as a broadcasting ship in Miami. The Radio England and Britain Radio Photo Book is part of the Golden Age of Radio series of books, and the price is £25 English. www.radiofab, that's FAB.com. And there is more. Because more than 55 years later, a double CD has been launched, being a collaboration between Norman Barrington and Ray Anderson. The result is a great product from East Anglia Productions, partly produced in Dallas by PAMS, but also by Future Sonic, CRC, Pepper Tanner and other familiar names in the world of jingles. Norman Barrington obtained superior copies of much of the swinging Radio England and Britain radio material, so only the finest copies have been used on two 80-minute CDs. Swinging Radio England was a brilliant station, but gone in about 6 months, which is hard to believe looking back. Britain Radio gave us the first taste of the MOR format. And more news about books. There's a reprint of Hans Nat's book about Laser 558. All Europe Radio Laser 558. The story of Laser is full of excitement, with star DJs like Jesse Brandon, David Lee Stone, Tommy Rivers, and those George's Laserettes and the Sea Wolf, Charlie Wolf. You can relive the days of Laser 558 with this comprehensive story written by the leading radio historian Hans Nat. For more details, contact us at Avarast. That's Avarast at avarast.holland.nl. Almost all experienced hit radio presenters from the 80s and 90s knew about Z100, the famous top 40 station that took New York by storm, becoming a worldwide example for other hit radios. A brand new documentary tells the true and remarkable story behind the last great FM radio sensation. Worst to first, the true story of Z100 New York. It was 1983 when Milton Maltz bought WVN Joy, transmitting to the north of New Jersey on 100.3 MHz. According to listening figures, the station had no more than 18 listeners. He moved the studio at the Hudson Bay, a popular tourist destination in those days. The antenna was erected on top of the legendary Empire State Building. Knowing the station he just bought was licensed to do so. Scott Shannon was engaged from Tampa, Florida, where he was fairly successful with his morning zoo. Shannon took on this new challenge and became the station's breakfast jock and at the same time program director. August 2nd, 1983, he started up the station at 6 a.m. on WHTZ. That was the station's new name. His first record, Survivors the Eye of a Tiger, followed by Neil Diamond's America. Barely 74 days later, in the autumn of 1983, WHTZ, aka Z100, took the lead in New York's list of best listened to radio stations in the overcrowded New York radio scene. The documentary Worst to First, the true story of Z100 New York, lasts for just over an hour and relates how they used unconventional and outlandish methods to go from New York City's first worst-rated radio station to number one. The film premiered early this year via American video-on-demand services like Apple TV, Google Play. Within Europe, you can hire or buy the film via Apple's iTunes. We move on with an item about MiAmigo radio on the internet. January 8th saw the start of the new radio MiAmigo on the internet. With the sound and some of the DJs of the former offshore radio station, the team of MiAmigo radio was overwhelmed by the success of their opening weekend, attracting a lot of listeners, and the flow of positive reactions was endless. Due to this success, the station started a second stream to be accessed through the website and the app. This station operates from Playa de Aro and aims at the Dutch-speaking inhabitants of Spain. The website is www.miamigoradio.ts for full programming and other details, of course. After a break of a couple of years, it's going again. The 20th Radio Day will be organized June 11th of this year between 13 and 19 Central European Summertime at the usual location, Technical Museum QQ Tech in Hilden near Düsseldorf, that's in Germany. Details on the day's program will follow later. Primarily, this date will bring together the people of the radio scene. The entrance fee is €12 and the following email address: radiotag, that's radiotag.erkrath, that's ERKRATH @yahoo.com. But you can also contact us at Avarast at Holland.nl. It's a more than interesting day. We move on with Shortwave news in this edition of Avarast Goes DX. A station called Wave International has reappeared from the UK. It has not been on for many years. And the station claims to be running only 50 watts from a car. Trevor Brooke has been writing up a few unusual radio tales, which really should be recorded. That's www.radiofacts.org. Remember, Trevor was the key figure behind Radio Facts, which was an independent shortwave station broadcasting from Ireland between 1988 and 1992. It carried talk programs on science, technology, and media news. The mighty KBC transmits to North America Sundays at 0000 hours to 0200 hours UTC on 5960 kHz via Germany. Reports at themightykbc@gmail.com. See also www.kbcradio.eu. Pop Shop Radio is Canada's international voice on shortwave from British Columbia. The station plays a wide variety of pop music, such as records from the 1960s and 1970s that were played on top 40 radio stations, not only in North America, but also on offshore radio and stations like Radio Luxembourg. Pop Shop Radio can be exclusively heard on channel 292 on 6070 kHz every first Friday of every month. radiopopshop@gmail.com. And Radio Clash is a regular weekend shortwave broadcaster. The station claims to be broadcasting from the outer limits of Europe. According to a Belgian source, the collaborators of Radio Clash have radio in their blood because in the late 70s and early 80s they were also active on the shortwave bands. The station is run by Steve Kelly and the current power is only 15 watts, but intention is to increase to over 100 watts. The frequency is 6325 kilohertz. And if you want to contact the station, the address is via the internet, radioclashqsl@gmail.com. Radio Europe is a pirate from the western Ukraine who has been on the air almost every day since the Russian invasion started. The station is usually heard during the afternoon and evening on 5835 kilohertz. With a good signal in Central Europe. Mostly non-stop Western pop and rock music is heard, along with raid announcements in Ukrainian. The station has uploaded many videos on YouTube. Just look for Pirate Radio Europe. Radio Sovereign has returned to shortwave in April after a couple of months break and has been heard on 6905 and 6970 kilohertz during the evening. Sovereign plays golden oldies, and the idea on top of the hour says that the station is also on medium wave 1494 kilohertz from Dundalk in the Republic of Ireland. Wetlands International is a new Dutch project which was heard testing on a few Saturday and Sunday mornings in February on 6050 kilohertz using up to 50 watts. The station from the central part of the Netherlands is operating a Rode and Schwarz SK10 transmitter and is thinking about applying for a license to broadcast on shortwave regularly. Stichart Nielsen publishes a monthly list of European private shortwave stations. On the latest April list there are the names of LAMP Radio, that's LOMP, and Radio Europe in Alphen aan de Rijn. But it appears, although both stations are registered at the HFCC, both don't have shortwave licenses from the Dutch Agentschap Telecom, and so they are actually shortwave pirates. A strange situation indeed. In the past 2 weeks, there was quite some activity on the shortwave bands. Here's a short overview from the previous 2 Sundays. Sunday, April 3rd, on 5835, Radio Europe from Ukraine. 5990, Radio Blackstone. 6095, Radio Scotland. And on 6130, Radio Casanova from the Netherlands. 6175, Radio Young Europe. 6205, Misty Radio. 6205, Laser Hot Hits. And 6255, Radio Jennifer. 6266, Valley Wave Radio. 6272, Radio Joey. 6275, Radio Jennifer and Radio Tesla International. Premier Radio International on 6280 and 6283, Radio Johnny Tobacco. 6283 also, Radio Parades International, and on 6284, Panda Radio. 6305, Radio Rob. 6305, Radio Blue Panther. 6335, Radio Monique. 6380, WMBR. 6940, Radio Nova from the UK. 6950, Radio U-Boat 66. And on 7270, Radio Rock Power from the Netherlands. On 7320, WMBR. 7640, Radio Pamela. 7770, Radio JVG. And on 15620, Sluwe Vos Radio from the Netherlands. Finally, Sunday, April 10th, last week, on 4870 Radio Mystery 21. The signal was being jammed, unfortunately. 5140 Charleston Radio. 5780 Radio Harmony. And on 6045 Radio Polka Man. On 6130 Radio Casanova. 6190 Radio Scotland. They moved to 6940 later on. 6190 also Radio Blackstone. 6190 6210 Radio King Shortwave, and at 6260 Radio Rona Lisa. Radio Scotland 6275, and on the same frequency Radio Johnny Tobacco. 6280 Radio Monique, and also Radio Joey, and on 6285 Radio Panda Radio. 6335 Radio Clash. 6377 Offshore Music Radio. 6940 Radio Scotland International. 6945 The Vault. 7425 Radio Piet Sender, and on 7700 Radio JVG. And that concludes the news in this edition of Avarast Cozy X. Remember, we continue at 13 Central European Summertime, that's 11 UTC, with the Musical Express Bird van Leer. Music from primarily the 70s and 80s, plus of course always a radio-related item. And 45 minutes later at 11:45 UTC, it's Everything 80s, Mike Taylor. He concentrates on 1980s tracks, and of course that includes also some forgotten ones. We close down at 12:30 UTC, which is 14:30 Central European Summertime. But on 7700 and 5800 we will continue with our full programming till early in the evening. In the morning hours until 14:30 we are also on 6185 kHz. Most important is your support, of course. So write to Avarast Holland, PO Box 2702 in 6049 ZG, that's Zulu Golf, and that's in Herten, Herten, the Netherlands. For €3, $3. You'll get an A5 size, very colorful QSL card, high quality, with a large sticker as well, and of course our newsletter. You can also drop us a line via avarast@avarastholland.nl. Our website, avarastholland.nl, and that's full of information about our history and about the upcoming streams, which will start tomorrow on Easter Monday. Have a look. Stay tuned, and thanks for listening. Hope to hear from you. It's bye for me.
Innovative with a touch of tradition. FRS Holland is on your dial right now. This is the free radio service Holland, with music and information on shortwave. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, FRS beats them all. This is FRS Holland with another hour of shortwave power.
Just after 1 o'clock, CET, the free radio service Holland on shortwave and on the internet. Easter 2022. And our sincere congrats go out to the British Broadcasting Company in London. This year, 100 years old.
Here's a chance to demonstrate our gratitude to you on your birthday. On your birthday. Give a bit of credit, well, a lot of credit due on your birthday. On your birthday.
1972, the BBC was 50 years old. It's 2022, the BBC now 100 years old, and in 1972 this record was made especially for their birthday. Sung by Demis Roussos, Sander en Andres, Vicky Leandros, Hildegard Knev, Enrico Macias, and the song's called Auntie. Free Radio Service Holland, hello, Eastern 2022, and for the next 45 minutes it's the Musical Express on the Free Radio Service Holland, on the internet and on shortwave, and the shortwave conditions today are very good. It must be because of the
Starry, starry night. Paint your palette blue and gray.
singer-songwriter
singer-songwriters are quite hip and happening these days, but this is the godfather of all singer-songwriters. Don McLean from 1972, the song's called Vincent. Let's say hello to a couple of people who wrote in, responding to our Christmas broadcast, the last broadcast from 2022, 4 months ago. That's John Eggerix, Goejaard in België, Kiki Nadali in Milan, Italy, Kees Wageman in Nederland en Noordwijk, Misayo Tanaka in St. Leonards-on-Sea in England, Frans Wagemans Beers in Nederland, Giovanni Lorenzi in Messina in Italy, Helmut Matt in Herzbolsheim in Germany, Gernot Kramer in Butzbach in Germany, Russ Cummings in North Fernby in England, and Denis in Pordion in Italy. Thank you all for listening. This is the Free Radio Service Holland. We are the Shortwave Cowboys. And here are the Indians.